What is up, Alphas? Welcome to our next Alpha interview. And today we're featuring Teresa from Oscar and Friends. Is that correct?
Yes.
Awesome. So for most of the Alpha shops that we've showcased throughout this series, we've had links and things down below. But in the event that this gets pushed out before Teresa's launch, I don't want anybody to be confused or think that they've arrived at the wrong place, because Teresa, you are right at the beginning growth stages of your business.
Yes, I am. Awesome. I just, I started, basically, Oscar and Friends was started from a desire to make clothing for my little grandpup Oscar, because he didn't fit anything. And then it grew, it just naturally grew that other people saw the little coats and that I made him and they wanted them. And then next thing you know, I was in craft sales. And then somebody said, my daughter said I should sell online, and I set up an online shop not knowing what SEOs were or anything, and nobody came to the store. All that
That's
work
everybody.
And nothing. Like, I had no idea what keywords were. I don't even think I put any in. And then somebody told me about Etsy. So I decided that, okay, I would do that. And I started watching different videos and different people. And I did learn the very basics about SEOs and keywords and tags and all of that. So I put it in, and I did have some success. And basically I knew that I needed more. And I have no idea, didn't have any idea about social media or anything like that. And I stumbled across, and I don't even know how, one of your Fridays, and thoroughly enjoyed it. And that's where it started from. And that was probably a year and a half ago that
Awesome.
I started watching you.
That's great. And you know what I love about, even, especially since a year and a half, that's time that you have spent laying the groundwork for your business, where most people, they make something real quick and they say, oh, I made this thing, I'm going to slap it on Etsy. Branding, what's that? They just throw everything out there, but they don't actually establish the planning stages first. They don't nail down a target audience. They don't nail down any branding. And then they don't understand why their shops didn't succeed. So that's really great that you have gone in and actually started to do that research ahead of time. What made you decide to join HAA?
I knew that I had the basics. I had taken a short course before in SEOs and how to sell on Etsy. And it was what she taught me was very good. And that as far as the very basics, but I knew I needed more. I knew that I had no marketing. Absolutely no marketing. So I was looking for a place that I could learn about marketing, about how do you use Facebook? How does Instagram work? How to use it and how to do it. And just watching your freebies on the Fridays, I thought, this is what I need. You taught me how to do a reel. My first reel had 3,423 views, and I just about died.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's so awesome.
That's so good.
That was just before Christmas. And that's all. And that now I'm finding that, I've done some more, but I'm finding that the reels are not getting as many views as they did before, but you're still getting a whole lot more views than doing posts. To do posts, basically it's friends and family that are seeing it. And that's not my target audience. I want to reach others. I don't want to be reliant, and I never have, I don't even want to sell to friends and family, really.
Yeah. And reels are, they're like your fishing pole that you're casting out into the pond of your target customers that don't already follow you. And even I do speculate that the very first reel that you publish, Instagram boosts that a little bit more. I've noticed the same, where you'll publish the first one and it'll do really well. Mm-hmm. But either way, getting even 50 new people seeing your brand new brand, that's huge, because that's exposure that you wouldn't get just posting organically to your feed. So that's awesome. So here's a great question that I think that a lot of people could gain from who are watching this interview, maybe those who are just starting out or they haven't started yet. What do you feel like you have done to game up for your big launch that you can anticipate is going to be like the groundbreaking thing that you didn't know before starting.
Okay. I finished my MailChimp setup today. Hooray for me,
awesome.
Right? And
that's great.
I don't think I ever could have done it without being in the HAA. Like, your step-by-step steps were fantastic. I mean, I had to rewind.
And you're watching the outdated ones.
But, pardon me?
You're watching the outdated ones. We're about to reboot them because MailChimp has moved
And I thought,
things.
should I wait? And I thought, no, I've got to get this done. And I promised myself I would have it done before I was interviewing with you. And I finished at 10 a.m. this morning. So
that's awesome.
So I have a plan for launching a new line. And I'm working on setting up working on all of the setups for Facebook posts and reels and things like that. Also, you also taught me how to do Canva, and I love it. Just taking backgrounds out of pictures has been a game changer for me. And so I'm getting ready for that launch. So I would say all of those tools combined to teach you, taught me how a launch is done and how to set up a collection for a launch. I had no idea. I would just post, oh, I've got a new bandana today. Or do you need a collar for your dog, right? Whereas now, I mean, it brings some professionalism to it too. And just understanding the background of the marketing, I think will be very beneficial.
Absolutely. And it gives you a level of comfort as well, where when you are just throwing things out there, you don't really know what to expect next, and you don't know what your next move is going to be. But the Marketing Mountain timeline, it kind of gives you a life raft to cling on to. That way you don't wake up and you're like, oh no, I need to post to Instagram today. What do I post? You've got a list of things that you can follow.
I'm just in module 5 right now, so.
Oh, okay. That's great. And most of the alphas we've interviewed have not finished the program. So what they've said is they've gotten through halfway, and most of them already had their Etsy shop set up. So they're just kind of putting the sprinkles on top. But then they say that they got so busy with their shop that they weren't able to finish the course. And I'm like, you know what? That's a good problem to have. So I'm excited to see your progress in particular, because this means that you're starting on the ground running. And I'm really curious to see how this all pays off in the long run.
So am I.
So social media, you are already there. You don't have your shop, there's nothing to buy yet. But
my shop is up and running.
Oh, it is up? Okay, great. So you're doing that pre-marketing for your upcoming collection now?
Yes. I'm starting that.
Okay,
no,
great.
shop has been running for a while, and it has had some success.
Great.
It's just I need, it definitely needed a total revamp and a total cleanup. I did not have branding. I didn't it needed total revamping of everything. And I didn't have a banner. I didn't see a need for that. Why bother? That's work, right? Whereas, to get the behind the scenes, I knew my target audience from doing craft sales and in person markets. So that I had a good idea of who my target market was going to be, but didn't have a clue how to reach them. I even have a list of email addresses that I've never done anything with. So now, I had 200 people sign up for emails that I shot them an email maybe once a year to let them know what craft sales I was going to be at. So they're going to be surprised.
That's awesome, though. And I recommend doing almost like a warm-up email starting out where you say, hey, remember me? That way, it's just a little reminder, a little nudge. And then you can, jump right into your normal marketing that we talk about. Because, if they're not interested, if they signed up or they gave you their email at an event and they get an email and they're like, oh, I don't really remember who this is, and they decide to unsubscribe. That's actually a positive thing that not a lot of
Oh, for
people
sure.
realize, because then you're not gonna reach that cap on your MailChimp. You can get 2,000 subscribers before you have to pay. So I was always happy when people left my mailing list. I'm like, good riddance to you.
Like you want
Awesome.
people on
Making
there
room.
that are truly interested in what what you're selling.
Absolutely. So we've talked a little bit about some strengths. What do you think are some of the hardest things that you've done so far, aside from the mailing list? Obviously, is a big pain in the butt to set up. But what other challenges have you found since setting up your business?
I would say the technology part, like as I say, like before, photography. Like Canva has been a game changer for a lot of like for doing listing photos and taking things out, because I do have a lot of people send me pictures of their pets, and that with wearing their bandanas or collars or that, and on all of them, like when I send out, I add a thank you note, and I always put on there that I love to see the pictures of their pets wearing it. And I get lots of pictures back, and I've never had anybody say that they didn't want, that I couldn't use their dog's pictures when I respond back and ask.
Aww.
And but the thing is that people take pictures of their dogs in, wherever with whatever behind, you have the household sort of paraphernalia lying around. So that way, I mean, with Canvas being a game changer, because I just crop, I do the background remover, and I've got a nice picture of their pup wearing the garment, and I add it to a different background, and it's good for my listings or my web page or whatever. So that's really helped.
That probably makes them happy too, if they've got like dirty socks laying on the floor.
Yeah, and you know what? People just love their pups, so so I mean, they're thrilled if you want to use their pup's pic.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that we always talk about with target audiences, is that you could say that your target audience is dog owners, but not every dog owner is going to buy their dog an accessory like this. What is your target customer?
I have two groups. My one group is young, usually professionals or younger people that they can be married, not married, but no children. Because
so their dog
is their baby. And they have the extra funds. Once you have a child, the funds go into your child. Whereas they have the funds and want to spoil their baby. My other group is sort of like my age group, that their children have left the nest. They don't have children at home that they have to spend their funds on. They often have a pet, or they have now grandpups that they want to spoil. So new babies. Yeah. So there's sort of like that age group, like the two different age groups, and but those are my prime clients, and that is the young without children and the older with children that are gone. Mm-hmm. It's the children that mess up that middle group.
So obviously you're still a relatively fresh shop. You said you've had your shop for a little while, and you've had a little bit of success. So you've had issues here and there, and you've signed up for HA, and you're not giving up. You're grinding away. You're trying to do your best to get successful at it. So what would you tell someone who maybe is kind of in the same boat? They're trying to get the thing rolling, but they're not just quite sure where to push forward. Maybe somebody who's afraid to just get in there and get going and just
take your course. Step by step. Absolutely. Step by step. I used to be an educator, and I believe learning is lifelong. And when you take on something, you learn one part, and then you look at, okay, I've got that part kind of down. You never you're never perfect in it, but then it goes, what's the next thing that I could do? what's the next, how can I better it? And just bite it off in little steps. Sometimes I sit down and my brain gets going so fast that I have a million things that I want to do in it. But then you have to sit down and say, okay, what's the next thing I can do? Like I knew for my launch, I needed to get MailChimp up, or this launch isn't going to have the success that it would just posting on Facebook and Instagram. So just biting off one step at a time.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. And it gives me another really good question. And if you don't have an answer to it, that's okay. But do you have a plan for your email list growth? Do you have a plan in place for how you're going to get those first, I know that you have some subscribers already from past events, but do you have a plan for going forward?
I'm going to add it to my Etsy shop, and that in my announcement or that under there, or link right onto my banner to join in that area. I call it Oscar's Friends, become one of Oscar's friends, being Oscar and friends. So to become one of Oscar's friends. And, that was about, of course, in using when I do craft sales or that, I would have definitely have a sign up sheet. I always have. But not really. I really hadn't gotten that far. I'm just glad I got my MailChimp set up.
No, that is a plan.
That's the first step, and you've got a little plan in place. That's definitely a great place to start.
Yeah, absolutely. And then later on, you can put it in your link in your Instagram bio.
Right, yes, for sure.
And direct people there. So
and package inserts for when you send your packages and things.
I had thought of that. I was going to change my thank you notes and add it on to them. I had thought of that part, eh?
Awesome. That's perfect. So I'm trying to think of how I want to word this. Let's say that we've got somebody who they're in a similar industry as you. Maybe they're in, I don't know, we'll just say pet products in general. And they're really, really nervous about getting started. Do you have any words of advice that you would give to someone that is, nervous about this industry in particular? Because people, when it comes to their pets, they're crazy about their pets, and things can go wrong with pet products. There's choking hazards, I guess, and people want the best quality products for their pets. So any words of wisdom for someone in your industry?
I think just be forward and upfront with your customers. Don't try to claim anything that you aren't. I find, I would say 99% of my customers are just lovely, lovely people that just want the cutest things for their pups. I would say research. I did a lot of research, especially before I made collars. Doing research and figuring out sort of what product you're going to put out there. I just found that people would always be giving me suggestions about what I should make, and I would just be kind and listen to them. But you get to know what is people want out there, and what you're willing to do. I used to do quite a bit of custom, and I don't do custom anymore.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that.
That's the road that I think most people go down. You start off doing custom at first. It's a good moneymaker. It's a good way to build rapport for your brand, good way to get reviews and things like that. But it ends up just kind of either being a drag over time or just too much work on top of what you're already doing.
Yeah. I would rather see someone make themselves a little assembly line where they're able to make a bestseller that they can replicate rather than spending and investing all that time into making something completely custom. So that's awesome. So I guess my last question, and this is the one that we've asked all alphas that we've interviewed so far, is if you were talking to somebody from the alpha community and maybe they were nervous about joining HAA when it opens, what would you tell them?
Well, I would tell them that it was well worth the money. I would tell them that if they were worried, I I think, what is it, 30 days or whatever, money back guaranteed,
Yes.
no questions asked. And I honestly believe that that's the way it is. I never, after 3 or 4 days working on it, the amount of time and effort that has been put into the modules, well worth the money. You can do it step by step. It's not that you have to be through it in 2 weeks. It's forever there. And the community is lovely. I haven't participated ghostly maybe.
Oh,
I'm not really an active participant,
fine.
but I truly enjoy other people's dilemmas. Not that I enjoy that they're having dilemmas, but just how others respond. I just find that just the total package, well worth the money. That you can do it step by step. Awesome. Like I say, I'm in module 5. I don't even know how many modules there is. I'm sorry. 9. Okay, so I'm halfway there. Yeah. But I'm only halfway in module 9. But I'm just been biting it off step by step and seeing how it works into my business. And there is nothing in all that I've taken that I haven't been able to use for my business.
Oh, that's so awesome. That's good to hear, because I always worry that, like, oh, will this be applicable to everybody? So that's great.
I don't think we've ever had anybody say that it wasn't.
Yeah. Well, and we've also had a lot of businesses who have said that they, oh, I didn't use this part for my Etsy shop, but I also run this business on the side, or we run a restaurant and I was able to use this part for my restaurant.
More than one time we have one person selling contracts for the Department of Defense now. Yeah. We have a couple people that run restaurant, and they're like, yeah, and I used HAA for my real world business and it did great. I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
Not how we advertise it, though. That's just a bonus. Well, thank you so much, Teresa, for hanging out with us, for dealing with tech issues today. Obviously, the audience didn't get to see all of that fun, but she's been a real champion making sure that we got connected so that we could bring you this interview. And thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.